5 contracts on the board this week, and the theme is very simple. Agencies are stocking up. Now, this is what I call micro purchases, supplies, uniforms, testing kits, paper goods, and food services, all reoccurring, all relationship driven. The one to watch this week is the one coming from Wisconsin for disposable food services. And that's a 3-year contract with a university. So you're talking about real staying power. If you're not watching what agencies are putting out to bid, you're guessing. I'm Abby Souffrant, state and local government contracting strategist and founder of A&L Business Solutions. Every week, my team pulls a national data set of SLED opportunities, state, local, and education contract opportunities. And I give you the top 5 that you actually need to pay attention to. That's what this show is. Let's get into it. This week isn't about specialized expertise. It's about supply chain reliability. 4 out of 5 contracts are pure goods and consumables, art supplies, test kits, food service disposables, uniforms, custodial paper products. Now, the anchor again is our Wisconsin contract. And that is for item price food and catering across an entire university system, which includes students, faculty, staff, and visitors. That's not a one-time fulfillment. That's a standing relationship. Now, here's what that means for you as a vendor. Agencies are not shopping for innovation this week. They're shopping for dependability. Multi-year terms, reoccurring order cycles, on-site and off-site performance that's mixed across several categories. Now, if you can show up on time, keep tight inventory, and meet specs without drama, this is your lane. Now, the door isn't open to creativity this week. It's open to consistency. And I remember I said last week, welcome to the 3rd quarter of 2026. And if you don't know, now you know that several agencies, many in fact on the SLED marketplace, have restarted their budget and they are in a new fiscal year. Now, I know some of y'all still watch for the federal stuff. I don't give too much information about federal. That's not what we focus on. Federal, their budgets restart in the next quarter, but SLED has already restarted for many of our agencies. So you want to stay ahead of that. And the only way to stay ahead of it, if you're not sure where to go, is to meet us in the community under Contract Academy. Pin below and in the comments. But let's get into the top 5 contracts this week that you should be paying attention to. The first contract is coming out of San Antonio, Texas for art supplies and equipment supplies. Now, there is no budget for this because they're looking for what you're going to put in your proposal, but they're looking for art classroom shelving, supply carts, palette and brush close-ups. The city needs an as-needed vendor for art supplies and equipment. No fixed order schedule, which means this favors a vendor who can flex on quantity and turnaround time. The right vendor for this type of contract is an established supplier with existing government catalog pricing, not a boutique art shop. The key word here, catalog. Now, it's worth pursuing if you already carry education or art program inventory and you want a low friction way to enter into a Texas municipal account. Our pipeline lesson for these types of contracts. As needed contracts like these are often underrated as entry points. They don't require the volume commitment of a term contract, but they get you inside the agency's ordering system Let me say that again. They get you inside of the agency's ordering system, and they build the track record you need for the next bigger bid. Don't sleep on the as-needed listings. They are your foot in the door, not your ceiling. Our second contract is coming out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for a drug test kit and alcohol test kit supplies. Now, I love these types of contracts because Philadelphia is not the first one to ask for this. So keep in mind, many of these seem like one-offs, but many of them occur right in your backyard. You just have to pay attention. Philadelphia, aka Philly, they need compliant suppliers covering several different drug testing. I'm only pausing because there's so many big words that are related to these types of contract, the different types of drugs that they're testing for. You all who are professionals know what that is. They're looking for on-site performance, digital or online submissions. So the right vendor is a medical or surgical supply distributor with existing compliance, documentation, and chain of custody protocols already built out. This is worth pursuing if you're already in the regulated supply space. Now, the barrier to entry here is compliance paperwork, not pricing. Your pipeline lesson for this type of contract is that regulated category contracts filter out most of your competition before the bid even opens up. If you're already got this type of certifications, this category type is where you face the least amount of noise. Build a standing compliance packet once, and you can reuse it across every drug testing RFP that hits your radar. And if you're in my community, the Under Contract Academy for our micro labs for government contracting, I'll make sure that you get access to all those contracts. Again, link is in the comments. Our third contract, our anchor one for this week, is coming out of Wisconsin for disposable food service supplies. Now, this one is so fun. It was fun to read about because they have so much packed in it. Now, this is the anchor contract of the week, and they're looking for priced food service and catering for a full university population over a 3-year term. The perfect vendor is a food service and catering operation with staffing depth to handle both daily dining and special event catering simultaneously. Now, this is not the first type of catering contract that comes out of universities. So you always want to make sure you pay attention to the sauce we putting down. So this particular contract is worth pursuing because a 3-year university contract is exactly the kind of recurring revenue base that stabilizes a small business. Your pipeline lesson is long-term institutional food contracts are relationship contracts before they are supply contracts. The vendor who wins isn't necessarily the cheapest. They're the ones who can prove they'll still be reliable in year 3. The relationship is the key point to this entire RFP. Contract number 4, out of the state of Newburgh, New York. I should have worn my hat today. And this is for a multi-departmental uniform supply. Say that 3 times. All right. New York is still on a roll. They are rolling out so much. I did tell you it is a new quarter. It is a brand new fiscal year. Lots of things are coming back out. Okay, a lot of things have been put on hold for the new year, but I digress. I go into detail about that in the community, right? They're looking for PPE compatible workwear, embroidered department markings. So, if you're wearing a collared shirt or your polos and you have your company logo on here, that's exactly what they're looking for. And they're looking for these uniforms across 3 distinct departments. Those departments are custodial and maintenance, food service, and security, each with different performance specs. So we're talking about chemical resistant fabric, food safety compliant materials, and public safety style professional appearance. The right vendor for this can provide a uniform, or they are a uniform supplier with multi-line production capability, not a single category apparel shop. And for me, as your strategist, that's ringing catalog, catalog, catalog. How many times can we say catalog, catalog, catalog? Okay. Just want to make sure you're with me. Now, the deadline for questions is July 16th, so you don't want to miss that window if you have any specification questions. Let me just go ahead and give y'all some gems because y'all been rocking with me for quite some time. If you're into apparel, you're into uniform design and different things like that, they are very specific as to what they want and what they're looking for. So you want to make sure that you have your distributors, your warehousing, your manufacturers that meet those qualifications. And in the event that you do not have the exact specs, this is where you ask in the Q&A section, are you open to something else? Something else that is just as good, however, maybe manufacturing is down or the supplier is out of a specific type of thread. Who knows, right? There's all kinds of things happening these days. So those could be really viable answers. And so even if you're not able to supply them with the exact thing that they need, you want to get as close as possible. And let me just tell you one more gem, because y'all have been doing great. Y'all been following, subscribing, and y'all been joining the community. For apparel in particular, this is not a one type of contract. It is a one type of contract because it's one RFP, but there are multi layers to this, and agencies talk amongst each other. And so if you perform well on this type of contract, just know that your name and your company's name is being populated amongst different agencies. Multi-departmental contract rewards vendors who can source across categories instead of just specializing in one. If you can only fulfill one department's specs, partner with a complementary supplier before you bid. A joint proposal beats a partial one every time. Our last contract of this week is out of Shelbyville, Tennessee, for custodial and paper products supplies. Again, some low-hanging fruit that I provided you guys for this week. These are easy to bid contracts if you have the right connections. Now, this is a long, specific list, which includes toilet paper, napkins, paper towels, styrofoam, trash liners, gloves, hairnets, soap, all on-site delivery. And I have I have two vendors in mind that would be great for this. Now, the right vendor is a janitorial or paper product distributor who already stocks this exact SKU mix with volume. And it's worth pursuing if you can match the line for line without substitutions. Now, agencies write these lists this specific because they've been burned by vendors who cannot perform. And that's a very expensive lesson for them. Now, your lesson for this particular RFP is that when an RFP lists SKUs down to the ounce and count, that's not bureaucracy. That's a signal that the agency wants zero ambiguity. Match the list exactly in your proposal in the same order with the same units. It's like we're back in kindergarten again. Precision reads as competence before you've delivered a single box. Now, here's the concept of the week. We have catalog versus custom. So looking at the 5 contracts again, 4 of them, art supplies, test kits, uniforms, custodial paper, are all catalog plays. The agency knows exactly what they want down to the SKU number. Your job isn't to pitch a solution, it's to prove you can fulfill the list on spec, on time, every time. Now the fifth, which is Wisconsin's food service contract, that is the outlier out of all these contracts. That one is relationship driven, multi-year, built on trust over the full contract term and not just a single delivery. Most vendors treat every RFP the same way, and that's a mistake. A catalog contract win, or I like to call a shopping contract, those are some of my favorites. Those are some of actually my firm's first wins, and they were just low-hanging fruit, and we just swooped it up and did it. They win on precision and price. Now, a relationship contract wins on track record and staffing depth. Pitch the wrong strength to the wrong contract type, and you will lose before the agency even opens up your PDF. Now, pull up these 5 contracts right now and tag each one of them as catalog or relationship, or if you have a pipeline that's already completed, pull up your pipeline. Identify which ones are more catalog and which ones are also more relationship, and match your pitch strategy to the tag before you write a single word of your proposal. There is a strategy to proposal writing. Now, if you've been watching this show every week and still don't have a system for tracking, tagging, and actually bidding on what you see here, that is a gap. Now, watching is not the pipeline. That's exactly why we built the GovCon micro purchase community. And here's what you get. You get live updated micro purchase contracts, our low hanging fruit, our shopping contracts, our easy to bid contracts that help build up your credibility, your notability, and your notoriety. Again, making sure that your name gets put on the internal bid agency list. So you're not hunting for opportunities on your own. We already do that. And we do weekly proposal reviews that are done by my team before you submit to make sure you're heading in the right direction and making sure that you're not misaligning your goals and the agency's goals. You also have direct access to me for pipeline strategy and not just contract alerts. We are locking in for the rest of 2026 into the community. And right now we have a founder's rate, and I think we have like less than 90 seats. We started at 100 and now we're under 90. The link is also in the description again and is pinned in the comments. Do not watch another show for another month without obtaining a pipeline to show for it. Now, we are at the beginning of a new budget cycle, and there are so many fascinating and amazing contracts that are up for bid right now. Some may go to previous incumbents. Some may go to new bidders like yourself. We do not have to wait on the sidelines to get things done. Now, we've got less than 6 months left in 2026. It's time to get moving and shaking. I thank you guys for tuning in with me this week. Remember, opportunities are everywhere. My name is Abby Souffrant. This is This Week in Procurement, and I'll catch you guys next week.